but and then I know there are cameras in these trucks now. And do all truckers have cameras or only some? Or is this a new thing?
I want to say probably 60 to 70%.
60 to 70%.
Well, yeah, because I talked about the $5 million umbrella policy that these truckers have.
Yes.
They're smart enough to know there's people out there they'll take a hit. They'll pull right in front of a semi, take the hit and sue them. I had a lady do that on Farmington Road north of 9 Mile. There's no one around. I'm driving a new Suburban. She slammed on her brakes so I would hit her. I hit her, and I called 911. I said, hey, send a supervisor and send one of your officers. And I wouldn't let the lady move her car. And I was in full uniform. She didn't see that.
Wow.
And they got there, and I said, this is nothing but fraud.
Wow.
Ticket. There was nobody in front of her, and she slammed on the brake. There was no squirrels. I go, this is part of a fraud ring. So they investigate her. She had been in numerous accidents.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I had an anonymous call once that told me on Plymouth Road between Inkster and I think it was Farmington, there was a current fraud ring working, and they were whatever your classic gypsy people are, your Albanians.
Yep, no hate, you speaking truth.
Yep, and that's what they were doing. And it's funny, Miles, we had 3 Albanian families, the gypsies, I don't think it's Albanian, Romanian.
Okay.
That lived in our city.
No cap, no hate.
One guy that had this house that you couldn't believe. That guy was the king of all the gypsies.
What?
Everybody thought he lived in Chicago. That's where they thought he lived. I interacted with him, and interesting, that guy we never got. I wrote his daughter 6 tickets one day, and she asked me if I wanted to come over the next day for lunch.
6 tickets.
6 tickets, yeah. Miles, I used to teach the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code at the police academy for 10 years.
Wow.
I know it inside out. But once I realized who I had stopped, I loaded her up. But the other 3 families that lived in our city, within 2 years, we had locked up all of them. And it was, their big thing was, one of the big things they were doing is retag on like a minivan with like your Astro van.
Yes.
And a couple of other. And I remember you said one of your kids is a policeman, so you probably a little bit familiar with it.
Yes.
But king of the gypsy, I talked right to the guy, and he's like, well, you ever want to come here and have lunch? And I go, well, why would I?
Yeah, try to poison you.
You'd be crazy going anywhere near that guy and his family. Yeah, a lot of these people and these truckers, one thing the truckers were doing for a long time, on the cab part of the truck, they were backing off the brake calipers. So when they engaged the brakes, it wouldn't use the brakes. One set of pad on a truck, I think, is $800.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So if they got 6 tires normally right on there, that's $3,600.
That's crazy.
What they do is they back it off, and they use a truck trailer that they don't own, because they just pick them up and drop them off. They use those brakes to stop them. And so what they do is there's I think it's called a piston caliper. Take and you put it on, and it should only move so many degrees. Well, if it moves further out, they back the brakes off. But that's like, one of the guys, he just called me this morning, or this afternoon, one of the guys I trained, he ended up becoming a federal motor carrier, but with us.
Wow.
And he did truck inspections, and that's where, I would go and stand by, especially if the trucker was being kind of a little disrespectful, and just my presence usually was enough for most people to be like, I don't want no part of this.
You no joke, man. I mean, my brother, whenever I have some time, I need to come over to UR. We can meet halfway just to sit down. I've learned so much today, just talking to you and hearing you share your stories and the dangers of trucks, and I've had truck drivers when I was driving in different areas. I asked them questions about their truck, and one guy was very honest about being overloaded by over, I'm gonna say 180,000. He was closer to 200.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was scared to even talk to him because I knew the answer. He was so dangerously overloaded. He couldn't stop. Like, I'm like,
Miles, you know who's even more? Every ambulance that's out. I had a case with the fire department. I can't remember with the person. I don't think they died, but it came very close to death.
whoa.
And I was responsible. And I had to meet with our chief and the fire chief and said, before you put a body in that vehicle, 2 men or 2 women, whatever,
Whoa.
you're overweight. And I said, you guys got to change something. You got to get rid of something. And I said,
An ambulance?
Yeah.
Ambulances that go rescue people.
Yeah,
They're overweight.
overweight.
That's crazy.
Now, I can't remember, Miles. I'm trying to think of the number. The number is like on the door is like 10,000.
Yes.
800. They're up around 12,000 pounds.
Because of all the medical emergency equipment,
Yeah.
jaws of life.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I have even a greater insight, like, because we're by the Canadian border, and every morning on 94, like, these truck drivers are pushing. And when we're merging out, I check my mirror. I see if I don't see the truck driver trying to get over early, I'm praying. I tell my student, you push that gas pedal and don't let up. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in that approach?
No, because I tell kids, we're going to bury that gas pedal.
Yeah.
We're going to get up. And I tell them, if you go over the speed limit, I got nothing to say to you as we're getting on the freeway. Our job's to get on the freeway, and kids will be like, really? And I'd be, yeah. I said, we're not going to be idiots. We don't need to do 100.
Exactly.
But you're going to floor it.
To get out there, most beginning drivers, I can't tell you, if it's time for me to meet my maker, it's merging on the freeway. That's probably number one, and left turns, and number 1 and 2 are left turns and merging on the expressway. Those 2 things, they're different, but they're so deadly. The left turn thing is quicker. The merging thing is a slow death, and you see it. And then you see the young people, they have no idea who's around them. And if you start talking to them, they're not going to push the gas.
Yeah, they have no, that's the thing about drivers.
Oh my God.
These kids have no concept. And I don't know if you tell them, but I tell them like that one girl with the colorful hair.
Yes.
I tell the kids on first day, just because your hair doesn't mean you're going to pass.
Ooh, you speaking facts.
I do, and I tell them, Miles, I had one of the ladies from the office call me one time, and she goes, do you know we never get any complaints on you?
Because you speak truth.
And she goes, no. She goes, what is it that you do different? I said, well, I tell the kids first day, hey, you may not make it. We'll see. And I always tell them, if you got a problem, I said, I have a very bad reputation of being very tough.
Yep.
If you have a problem, we're going to straighten you out in that car. I'm going to make sure you can drive.
Man.
And I had 2 other instructors Andy Barron is a better instructor, at least in the car. His demeanor is very poor, but he's a better instructor than I am, especially with a bad kid.